Hey, how's it going? Look what I have. I have Audrey Hepburn swimming in my tea. She's a little tea bag on her. I don't have high hopes for this. I got this at Christmas and I forgot about it, and then I saw it today and I thought, ha! I can use that for a Craz cafe. And I didn't do one last month. I think I just forgot, but I didn't do it. Well, oh, Audrey. Audrey, you don't taste good. Well, this was fun. Okay. So, at present you find me recovering from a weird freak illness that just came on all of a sudden. It happened on Friday, and, let me shut the window. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, it happened on Friday. I was in the middle of eating dinner. I felt fine one minute, and then the next I suddenly felt nausea. And then I suddenly felt cold and sweaty. I started sweating everywhere and with chills. And I was just like, what, how did that happen? And then I spent the next 20 minutes sitting in the toilet just sweating and trying not to vomit. And I didn't. Maybe that was too much information. Okay. And then the next few days, I've just had nausea. And I don't know why. I didn't eat anything weird. It just happened. And the last couple of days, like, I felt better. And then I eat something. And then no, not better. It's not great. And the reason I have Audrey Hepburn in my mug is because I should take that out there, that's getting pretty brewed. You just stay there. When I'm sick, I have to either watch at least one, like, Audrey Hepburn, actually any classic film like Judy Garland, Grace Kelly, but usually Audrey because she's in some of my favourite old classic films, and at least one Disney film. I watched Cinderella. It was lovely. And those are just my coping mechanisms. There's something about, I watched Breakfast at Tiffany's, and that's really, how to explain this? The first time I saw Breakfast at Tiffany's, I was about 15, 16, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the dresses and how beautiful Audrey looked, and I was really invested in the relationship between, what's his name? Peppard? Something Peppard? I don't know. And, like, Audrey Hepburn, and I was just watching their relationship and how they got together. Spoilers for a really old film. Spoilers. But I can't remember the last time that I watched that film. It must have been a couple of years ago, last time I was sick. But this time I really understood, like, the subtext and stuff that, to me, like, watching it now, I was like, how did I miss that? And I don't think I did miss it, I just didn't get it. I get the, like, the underlying themes, they aren't underlying, they're so obvious, and I do that a lot when I watch film I saw several years ago, and maybe wasn't paying as much attention as I should, and then I watch it again and I'm just like, how did I not realise that? Or maybe I did realise that, but I don't remember realising it. Am I making any sense? I don't know. Yeah, but if you haven't seen, I think a lot of younger people like don't watch old films, and I understand that because like we need just visually the old films aren't like, it needs to be in your face and cut. But sometimes it can just be like just simple, and I think a lot of young people get bored watching classic films, but really I think they're worth watching. If you've never watched Breakfast at Tiffany's or Roman Holiday, especially, and Sabrina's a lovely film. Really, you need to give those a chance. And yes, you might not, because there's like long shots, and so the camera quality isn't that good, so they can't do really cool close-ups. So it's usually just more like what we'd expect to see in like a soap opera. But really, you need to give those films a chance because they aren't made like that anymore. And I don't know, there's something about that era that is like, we don't have film stars anymore. We just don't. We don't have film stars like Audrey Hepburn, like Cary Grant, Julie Garland. Because there's so much media and so many ways for performers to like connect with you with the internet and stuff like, and there's this mysteriousness around those actors that just isn't there anymore, and I think that's sad. That's very sad. But thank goodness we still have those films to watch. So this is your assignment: watch Breakfast at Tiffany's. If you never watched Breakfast at Tiffany's, watch Roman Holiday. Oh, Roman Holiday. I thought that was just going to be a normal cup of tea. It's not a normal cup of tea. It's really... It's basically just like I put milk in hot water. That's what it tastes like, with an aftertaste. Ugh. I did bring a sugar lump, just in case it was too... But then it'll be really sweet as well, because there's not enough tea flavour. Oh, whatever. 8 minutes. Okay. So I have 2 months to catch you up on, because I missed one last month. What have I been doing? Well, I have got back into reading, like reading a reasonable amount, like pretty much every day. It's because the sun is not out now. Now it's very overcast. But like, there's nothing I like more than just sitting outside reading. And it's not even about like being in the sun, although I do get a I look very pale, but I've got a bit of colour on my arms. But no, just like sitting outside, trees singing, birds singing, like wind through the leaves. I love that. I love reading outside, and yeah, I think I've made, like, last month I think I read one book and a play. This month I think I've read at least... Wait, hang on, I didn't even read a complete book. I read one play, and I read some of the Book of Lost Things. And I think I've read like 3, getting on for 3 books this month. Which is not there are some people some booktubers who just read like, oh, these are the 15 books that I read this month. They're all over 1,000 pages. I don't do that. There maybe was a time when I know I've never read that much. But yeah, how some... I hate doing this. I hate judging, like, other people, like, how much other people read. I'm a slow reader, but I read... I try to read a lot. I read more than the average person, so that should be something. Because I know that like my parents, they read, like, they'll go on holiday and they'll read, like, between 1 and 3 books, and that's like a year. Like 1 and 3 books a year. I can't imagine doing that. Like, I can't I can't even envisage that, because I have been, like, devouring books since I was maybe 10, 11. Have I ever talked about my reading story? I'll do that. We got a bit of time. When I was younger, my reading age was way lower than it should have been. I was not a strong reader. I just found it hard. I have, like, they thought I was dyslexic, but now, or, well, later on they didn't think I was dyslexic, but, I don't know. But, anyways, like, words, like, learning to read was difficult for me, and I was way below my, my reading age. And then when I was in, I think I was 9, 10. I can't remember what year I was in, but I was, sorry, I got distracted by a bird being weird. Yeah, I was in Mr. Watt's class, and he brought in, he read a passage from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which, we had the old BBC series, which is really janky if you watch it now, but I loved it then, and a nostalgic part of me still loves it now. And yeah, so he read from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and I had no idea that it was a book, and that there were 6 more books beside it in the same series, and I was like, oh, and that my dad had, like, a box set of it here. I was like, why didn't you, come on dude, don't leave me like this, hanging like that. And so I read them, and I will say, like, I think a lot of people have come across this when they find, like, a book, like, especially an older book. Like, I know that I think a lot of people, when they first read Shakespeare, they read the words, they understand most of the words, but they don't make any sense what you're reading. Like, let me grab a Shakespeare thing, and I'm just gonna open it to a random page. Othello, the Moor of Venice. Okay, and I just read, "Tush, never tell me, I take it much unkindly, that thou, Iago, who hast my purse, as if the strings were thine, shouldst know this." Now, reading that, I get most of it, but I think majority of people, when they just hear that without context, would just be like, I don't know what that is. That's how I felt reading The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe the first time. But because I knew the story from watching the BBC series, I got the main plot points, and because I read books that were, like, way above what my reading age was, it kind of gave me a boost up. And then in 1 year, I went from being a reading age of 5 or 6 to being a reading age of 16. So that's through those 7 Chronicles of Narnia. So thanks, Narnia, for teaching me how to read. And yeah, I remember reading the school report a while ago, and it said, like, oh, Kara's reading has moved on dramatically this year, and I was like, yes. And then a year or 2 later, a friend had been reading Harry Potter, and then I was just like, no, I just read through the Chronicles of Narnia starting at the beginning and reading through again and again and again. They're all I need. They're all the books. Every other book is boring. Come on, I don't need Harry Potter. And then my violin teacher said, "What, you don't like Harry Potter? Well, when you come here next week, you tell me what's in the letter that Harry gets sent. You tell me." And so I had to go through and tell her. But the thing is, because the letter was like separated, it was like you could see where the letter was, so I just like found that page and told her what was in the letter without reading the book before it. And she was like, well, next week you tell me what house Harry is sorted into. And I was just like, oh. So I had to read it, and I fell in love. I fell in love with Harry Potter. So then I just stuck to Harry Potter books and the Chronicles of Narnia. I think there were only 3 Harry Potter books released when I started reading. So yeah, I just had 10 books. That's all I read until gradually more Harry Potter books were released. And then I think I was in... I don't know when I started reading more widely. That's interesting. Oh, I think I do. It's when I started secondary school. So I was 11, and they had a school library, and the English teacher wouldn't let me get away with just reading one book. I am glowing. I'm glowing like a Christmas tree. Hang on. No, no. Okay. Wah! Yeah, the English teacher wouldn't let me get away with just reading one book or one or 2 series. So it's like, you were gonna read this and that and that and then I started devouring books, and then we got a new librarian at the school library, and she saw me reading a lot, and she just gave me books, like fantasy books that she knew I loved fantasy, so she made me read other fantasy books or young kids going on adventures, and and then I devoured books from then on out, and now I read everything, like literally everything, anything, except for chick lit. If a book looks like, and you can tell from the cover if it's like for the like a teenage girl or just a bit older, it's pink and it's and I was just like, no, not for me. And maybe that's me. Maybe that's wrong of me. I know that's all my sister reads. She only reads chick lit, and maybe I shouldn't be judging it so hard, but I feel like there's more substance to be found in other books. If there are like chick, I don't even want to call it that because that's like so sounds derogatory to me, but if there are like female books geared towards a certain age of woman, looking for love and stuff like that, if there's a good one of them that you recommend. I want to be less judgmental and less, but that belongs to them, and I'm half boy, so I will read boy things. I was just about to start on a diatribe about feminism, but maybe I'll save that because I'm coming up to 20 minutes. And that's an interesting thing. Like, I'm talking about Breakfast and Tiffany's and Roman Holiday, which, well, they aren't like girl films, but I think a lot of people would probably call them that. So it's interesting that I will watch them, but I watch a lot of films. But I do love Breakfast at Tiffany's, which is considered like it's a romance, and girls like it, but I think a lot of men like it too, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting that I have that about books, but not about, like, if something is just straight out romance, it won't hold my attention because I know it's going to be a lot of like, oh, friend zone, but wait, I really love him. But I think that's actually a plot of a Jane Austen novel. So I'm so confused, and I have been judging things based on the book covers. Okay, bye guys. I don't know. I hope this was coherent. I look so. It's because I'm so pale. Like I'm just glowing. I'm radiant. Okay, bye guys. Bye. Hope you have a good month. I'll see you next month. I hope your cup of tea or coffee or whatever is better than mine, because, oh Audrey, you do not taste good. Bye.